Hello guys, my name is Alex and welcome back to AOR, this time for the fourth round in Baku. And as you'll see, it's quite an interesting one because we have a lot of carnage and a really interesting race, to say the least. And yeah, in terms of preparation, I just had a few days because I was back from the esports event in London and I could only start on Friday to train, so yeah, my preparation wasn't perfect, and it took me quite a while to get a setup which works in quali and in the race because there's quite a huge difference, uh, especially on the ballast. But you will see that in a later part of the video. And here we are at the start of the session, and that was basically where the chaos began, because you can see in the race it said that there will be rain, which is not ideal because yeah, we had a dry session at the beginning but a wet one at the end, which means that we have to use a dry setup because quali is dry and the first two-thirds of the race were dry as well, so it doesn't make sense to use a wet setup. So I went out on a really aggressive setup. I used 9 ballast just to get quicker in quali, and I think the fastest strategy around here is starting on the super softs and finish the race on softs, and that was also the reason why we are qualifying on the slower compound at the moment. And in general, my feeling, especially on the Sunday, was quite good. I had quite solid speed. I think my PB was a .4 or 0.5 in quali on supers, so if we can match that kind of lap time, we should be fine. And so far, the first sector was actually not too bad. It felt really good. And yeah, you can see we are up on our first time, although the first time wasn't really that quick. My plan was always to do a quick lap on supers, not on the ultras, because I really didn't want to start on those tires, because 9 ballast on ultras is really dangerous. Yeah, but one thing that wasn't ideal, when I saw there would be rain in quali, I unfortunately forgot to change a few parts of my setup, and that will affect me quite bad, as you'll see later. And here we are at the third sector. It's basically flat from the last real corner, and it looks like we are improving by quite a bit in this lap. And I think at the end we were able to do 136 point, I think 7. Yeah, 7, which is a really good time. And it got us P5, which I was really happy about. Just Epic and Deagle ahead on the supers, and we have 5 red lights out, and away we go. As always, we try to be very careful because, especially here, you can get easily damage in the first few laps or corners. So yeah, we don't want to rush into that and be patient as always. Especially on this track, I think patience is the way to go. And yeah, you can see we're just waiting, and yeah, at the moment there's no need to attack because yeah, we don't want our tires to degrade too much, and yeah, especially with the aggressive setup, it's also not too good to push too much. It didn't took me too long to find out that my setup was a little bit too aggressive. I think it was pretty similar to the time trial one, just because I needed the extra bit of speed in quali and in the first few laps of the race, and especially on the softs it doesn't make too much of a difference when you can keep your tires in check. As you can see, Epic now makes a move on Flying Finn, who was on ultras, and yeah, now it's our turn to get past. although it's really difficult in this part, so we skip to a later part. And this was actually quite surprising to me. You can see we have a safety car, which really causes a lot of problems, because in terms of tire wear, the softs can make it easily till the end when you pit in lap 5. But the problem with 9 ballast is that you get a lot of oversteer, especially in lap 23, 4, 5. So when the rain is not big enough to, in order that we have to change to a wet compound, then we might have a huge problem, because it's really difficult to make those tires till the end with with 9 ballast, as I said. And yeah, it might be quite interesting how it develops. And here we are now at the restart. We tried our best to keep the tires warm, although I think they lost quite a bit of temperature in this part, because we went really slow. I also tried to weave a little bit, but yeah, at this point my focus is on the cars ahead, and when they are accelerating, because when you're doing a mistake here, you will lose a lot of time. And yeah, let's see how it goes. I think now it seems to be going away, but you can see there was slight bit of damage, and I think Dom hit the back of, I think Deagle was ahead, and yeah, he seems to have front wing damage, and you can see my tires are very cold. So I saw that, and that was the reason I was really cautious into turn 1, because I didn't want any kind of lock up which sends me wide or maybe into the wall. And you can see Curly try to take advantage of that and tries to hang it around the outside. And now we have a drag race, although he has the slipstream from the cars ahead, so it might be very close. And we try to brake really late. We really don't want to lose this position. We go side by side into the next corner, and we try to hang it around the outside in the right-hander, which we managed quite nicely at the end, and we were able to get the position up into P4 now, or defending P4. And now we have anti-G Freak, who is also known as Dominic, in front of us, and he seems to have quite a bit of understeer due to his missing front wing. You can see it's quite bad for him at the moment, and yeah, it's such a shame, because he's a really quick driver. I think in the race probably one of the quickest, together with the Deagle and Epic. And yeah, you can see just how much understeer he had, and at this point it's compromising our race by quite a bit, because you can see we lose touch of the leaders. And Curly, I think Michael was behind Curly. He also got very close, so yeah, it's not ideal at the moment. We have to get past as quick as we can. And here we are at the end of lap 8, and we get closer and closer. And at the end we were able to get the position, although Dominic went into the pit, so yeah, we lost basically seconds for nothing. And you can see as well that there was a fight behind us. Epic overtook Curly, and Epic had really strong pace around here. I think he and Deagle trained quite a lot on this track, because their qualifying and race pace was really strong. And you can see he's within 4/10, and when a car is so close to you on this straight, it doesn't make too much sense to defend. So I decided to put my ERS down, because even if I put it up into hot lap, he would still overtake me quite easily. So yeah, we just decided to save a little bit of energy and stay in his slipstream and save energy as well, because we knew he's really quick and he will probably pull us to the other cars, which is also quite nice. And yeah, battling at this point doesn't make too much sense, because we just lose time, and I really didn't want to join the group behind us. And you can see Epic was able to get very close now to the car ahead, and this was unfortunately a part where I lost a lot of time. I decided to save my energy, but I think that was a little bit of a mistake because, yeah, Epic was really quick, and I think he will overtake the car ahead on the next straight, and if we have bad luck then we might be stuck a whole lap, so we have to see how it goes. You can see we lost a little bit of touch, and we also have now Michael behind us, which is also not that good because he's also a very quick driver. I think in terms of pace, Michael and I were probably the same. We seem to be quite similar in terms of pace, basically in every race so far. So you can see he was able to make the move on Finn, and yeah, we were able to stay close, but not close enough to make any kind of impression to him. We had also a slight lockup, which doesn't help either. So yeah, now it's about getting closer, but you can see we were able to stay close to the car ahead, but Epic was basically gone after this lap, and now we will overtake Finn. And you could also see that my car was a little bit unstable in the fast corners, which, as I said, was because of the high ballast. And yeah, at this point I wasn't sure whether my tires will make it to the end. So I also tried to not push too aggressively because yeah, to have oversteer that early in the fast corners is not too good. And at this point you can see Michael was right behind me, and he also got very close yeah, to my car, so I decided again to put it down because there's no point in trying to defend when the other car is so much quicker on the straight. So we basically do the same thing we did earlier. We just try to stay in the slipstream and try to save our energy and try to attack later. I think that was probably the way to go, because when Michael and I are fighting the whole race, we will lose a lot of time, and I think the fastest strategy for us is just to push till the end and try and hope to gain as much time as possible on the cars ahead. And yeah, it's basically working as a team. You can see he tries to defend, but there's no point because I think our pace is similar. In the corners we were very similar, and on the straights I obviously gained quite a bit due to the slipstream. And now you can see there are a few drops of rain, and at this point it started to rain, which was not ideal, and I was hoping that the rain doesn't come down too bad, but yeah, it seems that it gets wetter within every second, and it gets to a point where it's quite difficult to handle the car. You can see there was a slight bit of lockup for me, and at this point I really had to sacrifice a lot of speed because my car felt quite unstable, and especially on in these conditions my setup wasn't working at all. Yeah, which was not ideal, and I had to be very cautious in order not to hit a wall. Yeah, it was just not ideal. You can see we were able to stay in touch with Michael, but I knew with the different setup it would have been a different story. But yeah, as I said, there was no point in trying a wet setup on a dry quali and a dry race for the most part. And here you can see we have a strategy change onto intermediates already in lap 19, so the rain did arrive earlier, much earlier than I expected. So yeah, at this point we just try to be patient, be very close. You can see we hit the curb slightly, which put my car off, which was also down to my setup. And yeah, I was not quite happy with that, and I will improve that in the future. But yeah, we just tried to survive. You can see he gained quite a bit because I had to lift off in the fast corners. And yeah, we were now into the pits. You can see DRS got deactivated, which tells you that that the wet tires are now quicker. And we go into the pits. Hopefully we get a good stop. And you can see Flores behind. He might. No, he doesn't hold up, and he doesn't keep us in the pits, and we were able to get out. And I think we were even able to get out ahead of Michael somehow, which is very nice. And now we were in P2. We are right behind Deagle, but you can see the understeer because my tires were locking up quite a bit, and at this point the track was nearly undrivable for me. I had to back off quite a lot in order not to hit any wall, and it was, especially the first lap was really horrible. It was so difficult to drive because I had so much understeer and so much lockups on the front. I really had to be cautious in order not to hit anything. And you might have seen this next part, because I'll say to you later, it got me in my opinion, undeserved penalty. You can see I hit the wall, and I got hit by Michael and spun right in front, or right in the middle of the castle section, which is not the way or not the place you want to be in. And now you can see I had an accident with Curly, and I think Flores it was, and it was a really unlucky situation. I will say, or I will explain the situation in a few seconds, but first of all you can see Flores somehow lost his car, and I think Curly had major damage on the front wings, so I think he went into the pits after this lap. And yeah, basically the reason what happened was I had a major lock up into the castle section, and I was really surprised about the grip because I broke quite a bit earlier compared to what I normally would in the dry, but somehow my car didn't turn at all. I had so much understeer, and we'll now see a replay of this. You can see I really tried to be very cautious, but somehow I had so much understeer, and you can see I shifted down to first gear to have maximum rotation of the car, but nothing happened, and I was really lucky not to end my race there. But you can see that our cars glued together, Michael and mine, and yeah, then I tried to move my car out of the way, but somehow my car didn't ghost, which meant that Curly hit my car, which is really unfortunate for him, but yeah, I couldn't do anything. And you can see we get a 5-second penalty, which is ridiculous because yeah, there was nothing I could have done there. And yeah, it's really unfortunate at this point, but you can see at the moment we are still in P4, although we have front wing damage, which is not that great. And now you can see suddenly the gap is down to 14 seconds to Michael. I think he hit one of the barriers quite bad, and at this point I think he had no front wing at all, so we were able to catch him by quite a bit. And behind us was Tim, who was quite a bit quicker compared to us because he had no damage and probably a setup which works quite a bit better. You can see we had to use first gear in the castle section just to rotate the car and not steer into the wall. And yeah, it was just so difficult not to end the race in every corner. I really had to pay you can see as well, we hit the curb and the car unsettled quite a bit. We nearly tapped the wall again, and at this point we were gaining quite a bit on Michael, and yeah, you could just see how much time he loses just due to the missing front wing, which is very unfortunate for him. He had quite good speed, and it's just unfortunate that, yeah, such a contact results in a compromised race. And yeah, I think in general it was just a difficult race, a very unlucky race for all of us, because a race starting in the dry and finish on the wet in Baku is probably the most difficult thing you can have, because yeah, a dry setup in a wet Baku is nearly undrivable. It's so difficult not to hit the wall. You could see that across all platforms there were crashing people left, right and center, and they didn't have rain, and then you can expect that with rain there's a lot more crashes, or there are a lot more crashes and a lot more problems. And at the end we were able to survive in P3, although we get demoted to P4 because Tim was too close to us, but I think the penalty will probably be removed, because in my opinion it's just not fair. And at the end it's P3, which I'm, to be honest, really happy about, considering I didn't have too much time to practice, and I will not also have not too much time to practice for the next races as well. So yeah, quite a good result, and congrats to Deagle and Epic. Both were really quick, and they all really deserved this result. And that was the race. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on the next one as well. Goodbye.